Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. And thank you so much for coming directly from your lunch to attend this session, where we are going to be talking basically about the future of DePIN in RWA. I think everyone knows about the use cases of blockchain and crypto that so far have been more around payments, DeFi, and so on. But there is a huge world, a multi-trillion-dollar industry that can be tokenized. And we will be talking about those use cases today. So this is actually based on a report that me at Hashkey Capital wrote in partnership with the Wanxiang Blockchain Labs, TLA, and Peak, which are two amazing DePIN projects. My name is Henry. If I didn't introduce myself, my name is Henry. I'm a research manager at Hashkey Capital, and we are a crypto VC. So far, we have invested in over 300 different projects, including many of them DePIN-related projects. OK, but let's get straight into it. And really, DePIN, what is allowing us is to unlock this multi-trillion-dollar industry of RWAs, of real-world assets. And it does this by combining a number of things. One of them is to allow communities to crowdfund projects, right? You can crowdfund a fleet of self-driving cars, solar panels, charging stations, or GPU networks. There are tons of use cases that can be bootstrapped and crowdsourced by the community instead of by large organizations. And the second thing is that because we remove large organizations from the equation, we allow people, token holders, to receive real-time cash flow from these projects and also have real-time transparency on the revenue that is being generated from these projects. You can have, again, solar panels, a fleet of cars, charging stations, or anything can be really fully transparent on-chain, which brings a lot of transparency and value, because there is a premium in this value, in this transparency that we bring, right? So if you have Uber, for example, and if you are a shareholder, you only know the numbers of the company, the revenue of the company every quarter. But if you are a token holder of a project like eLoop, which I'll talk about in a minute, you can see the revenue and the cash flow real time, which is pretty cool. So there are two different areas in the DePIN sector, right? We have physical DePIN networks and digital DePIN networks. There is a big difference because most of the RWA use cases are more related to the physical DePIN networks. And within the physical DePIN networks, we have from mobility, energy, wireless, agriculture, and so on. I'm super excited about the agriculture, by the way. And on the digital networks, everyone now is talking about AI, for example. And to decentralize AI, we need, for example, compute networks like IO.net or Render. And we need storage networks, decentralized storage networks like Filecoin. But we will focus more in this case on the physical DePIN networks. I'm not going to read these slides. Maybe if you are interested, you can take a photo. But basically, we have here the ecosystem of DePIN dApps with their respective use cases, both on the DePIN side, DePIN physical infrastructure, and DePIN digital infrastructure. And what really excites me a lot about DePIN is this graph here. You know, so far, when we have things like sensors, real estate, robotics, compute networks, wireless networks, storage, supply chain, these are all segregated. They are all separated in silos, right? They don't talk with each other. These things, they don't communicate. They don't exchange data. They don't exchange payments between each other. They are totally silos. Now imagine a world where DePIN infrastructure projects allow robotics, real estate, sensors, AI, to be interconnected and to bring value to each other, right? It can really unlock a lot of value, and it really encourages a global participation of anyone that has devices to exchange value, right? Because if at the moment we have, for example, one of the use cases that I'm going to talk about is, because at the moment, if we have any of these devices, for example, you have sensors or robotics, you cannot really train an AI with the data that is generated. But if your devices have an identity on the DePIN network, you can actually exchange data with AI, for example, and receive payments being rewarded for that data. In terms of DePIN-based RWA, there is a number of things that a process to adopt these things, right? We have from asset issuance, asset valuation, the risk management, which is done way better in the DePIN network because it's fully transparent, and the asset trading efficiency and liquidity. And talking about asset trading efficiency and liquidity, next we'll have a panel with DGFT, which is bringing a lot of value in terms of real-world asset liquidity, right? There are other promising use cases, of course, from renewable energy, collateralized lending for industrial equipment, asset-backed stablecoins. Imagine so far we have kind of two types of stablecoins. You have stablecoins that are backed by US dollar, short-term US dollar treasuries, and you have stablecoins that are backed by other crypto assets. What about having stablecoins that are eventually backed by real-world assets, backed by a business, backed by a solar panel, projects like this? It's super interesting, right? And we have other use cases that I'm not going to read, but it's very promising. And as I said before, one of the most promising things is really the fact that DePIN allows to bring a lot of data to AI, right? AI training. How is DePIN related to AI? Well, all these machines that are connected to the internet, all these IoT devices, all these sensors, cars, solar panels, charging stations, computers, they are all connected to the internet, but so far it's very hard for them to exchange data and train an AI. Now imagine that you can have your car or a dash cam or a solar panel that is generating data and being rewarded for that data through a DePIN network, which is super interesting. Talking about infrastructure, of course you might ask, can I develop a DePIN project on the Ethereum network or on Solana, which you have already some, and the answer is yes, you could do it. But the thing is that Ethereum network and Solana and many other of these layer ones, they are general purpose layer ones. They were not built specifically for DePIN related projects. So we have projects like Peak, which is part of the HashKey Capital portfolio, that provides developers with modular DePIN functions, meaning that developers can come on board and in a few hours set up a DePIN dApp. They can create identities for their machines, whatever is the machine you can do. You can have machine identity. Machines can exchange data, can exchange payments between each other, all on the Peak network. And despite the Peak network being high throughput, over 100,000 transactions per second, potentially, it also scores very well in the Nakamoto coefficients in terms of decentralization. And if you are interested in developing, they're actually launching the mainnet in a few weeks. It's a project that definitely you need to keep an eye on. Then we have Tile. Tile, similarly to Peak, is also a very interesting DePIN infrastructure project where you can build DePIN projects, also highly modular, and it's more specialized for RWA projects. Tile CEO is Leo Lin, is also a CEO of Arcrin. They have a booth out there. So if you want to know more about Tile, you can also talk about with them and talk about their consensus protocol, the proof of physical work. Just two more use cases. Arcrin, which is a network, a Web3-enabled network for global distributed renewable energy resources. And eLoop. eLoop is a car-sharing platform developed on Peak. They have already dozens of cars in Austria, and you can be like a token holder of a fleet of Teslas, and whenever anyone rents a Tesla, you automatically receive part of the revenue. So very quick, I think I'm running out of time, but future trends, I think we will see really shortening the gap between physical and digital infrastructure. We will see an unlocking multi-trillion-dollar industry, a lot of transparency, and we will bring transparency premium on board because, again, imagine that you have an Uber, but instead of having to wait for the quarterly report, you can look at the data real time, and a lot of asset liquidity because most of these RWA assets, nowadays, they are locked and there is very little liquidity. And once we have these infrastructure in place, you have full liquidity. And imagine you can get a loan on a DeFi protocol on a Sunday afternoon by giving part of your self-driving car token as a collateral. All right, that's all for this talk. The report will be ready very soon this week. So you can probably, within a few days, check the HashKey group website to have access to the report. And if you have any cool DePIN related projects, I would love to learn about it. Thank you so much.